It's a tale as old as time. Boy meets girl, boy and girl fall in love and start a family, ninjas come and kill girl, and boy must go avenger. I am Jace for I Dream of Indie, and welcome to my review of Okinawa Rush on the Nintendo Switch. Okinawa Rush is a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up heavily influenced by feudal-era Japan, and with gameplay heavily inspired by technical fighters such as Street Fighter and Tekken. You play as one of three main characters, the first of which is Hiro. His family was murdered while he was away running errands, and his story revolves around vengeance against the Black Mantis clan. The second character, Shin, is a monk whose goal is to take down the Black Mantis clan after one of his fellow monks shows up battered, bruised, and with a mark of the Mantis clan on his body. And last is Meilin, who is looking for her father and comes across the Black Mantis clan during her search. Each of their stories plays out over the same 5 stages, but obviously with their own goal and their own endings. In fact, each character has 3 endings that you can unlock. None of the 3 stories are particularly deep since you only get small snippets between stages, but it was fun to have that as a goal to work towards to see more of the story. Combat in this game is a 2-button affair where you have an attack button, a jump button, and then you can perform various combos with both of those buttons and the various directional inputs. As you'd hope, the combat is the best part about this game. It's fluid, it's fun, it's visceral, you feel the impact, you feel powerful. I really enjoyed it, even though it was insanely hard. The only real complaint I have about the gameplay is that jumping at times felt finicky and I couldn't quite control it. That may just be me being very bad at these kinds of games, which I am, but I still struggled at times to really figure out how to control my character when traversing and platforming. The game does include 2 ways to play, including arcade mode and story mode. The only difference really is that in arcade mode, it's as it sounds, it's sort of like an arcade cabinet where you have a set amount of lives, a specific set difficulty, and a set amount of continues to make it through all 5 levels. On the other hand, in story mode, you can choose which stages to play as long as you've unlocked them, and then when you choose those stages, you can choose a difficulty, and there are quite a few different difficulty levels, which is really nice and helped me out because I did have to play on an easier mode. Story mode also includes a training dojo, which you can adapt and buy items for, which will actually increase your character's statistics. But I did encounter one major issue with this, and that's that when I bought some items and installed them in my dojo, and then I went to customize and change my dojo, all my items disappeared, and I could not find them, have no idea where they went, but it was a bunch of gold wasted, and I couldn't get them back, so that was pretty disappointing. Additionally, the menu design in this game made no sense at all. I really had a hard time figuring things out and where things were and even how to select things at first. It actually took me about 15 minutes to even get into the game proper because I didn't know which buttons selected what, how to get back and forth between menu items until I could actually change my control scheme. Once I did that, everything worked okay and I could select stuff, but the menus were still unclear. There's a lot of options in game that don't exist from the main menu screen and vice versa, and that really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Along those same lines, when I did finally beat the 5th stage, it took me to a screen where I could save my initials as like a high score type thing, like you'd see in an arcade cabinet. But I have no idea if this was an online leaderboard or if this was just the dev scores or what this was. And I actually can't find the leaderboard in the game. I also can't find it for any other stage, so I have no idea why that happened, how it happened, or how you're supposed to know what scores to beat. While none of these things really affected the gameplay, except for losing the items which boosted my stats, that actually did affect my gameplay. It was just weird design choices all over the place that really confused me and I think could be cleaned up quite a bit. But it doesn't affect the overall combat gameplay, the levels, things like that. That still plays just fine. Other items worth noting is that in story mode you can play 2-player local co-op, and each of the 3 characters are supposed to play a little bit differently. They have a little bit of different skills and they are better with certain weapons, but to me they all kind of felt the same, and that really might just come down to me not being very familiar with these kinds of games or playing them very often, so that could just be my own ignorance. Overall though, I go back to that the game is still really fun, it's fluid, the combat is awesome, and it's something that I'll probably revisit from time to time just when I feel like slashing up a bunch of ninjas. When it comes to the visuals, I think they did amazing in this game. The pixel art looks incredible, the backgrounds are great, the level design is great, there's a lot of attention to detail. It really felt like feudal Japan. The character animations were great. the blood and gore was really fun and not too over the top in my opinion. They also include a CRT filter, which I thought worked pretty nicely. It does make it a little too blurry maybe, but I think it looked okay, and I actually played a lot of the game with the CRT filter on to get that old school kind of NES, SNES era feel. The hand-drawn cutscenes were also really well done. Overall, I just really liked the visual style and presentation here. Similarly, the audio is top-notch. The soundtrack was great. The sounds and the sound effects and beating groups of people down, it all worked really well. It added to the atmosphere, added to the feel, and again, I'll use that word visceral. It just works so well with how it was designed and how impactful the sound effects feel. As a complete package, while there are some things that I don't feel worked very well, most of that was based around the menus and transparency and how to select certain things, but that doesn't really affect the overall gameplay, and the game itself is great. It's fun and it's difficult, so if you like a challenge, if you like beat 'em ups, I think this is a game that I could easily recommend to someone like that. I hope you've enjoyed this review of Okinawa Rush on the Nintendo Switch, but now it's time to thank our indie warriors: Bill T, Kevilo, Mitchell Hall, Chris Jackson, Nathan Moore, Adriana Amato, CJR, C. Coyle, Skeptism, Hallie, Julian Colbus, Jen Rose, Jesse, CPM, Bunny, JRS8, Raylin, and Marky Mint. Thank you so much, and if you'd like to join them, check out the description below.